cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester.
Everybody, my name is Donna, also known as Donna Janel, CEO and founder of Parenting with a Purpose. Our strive here at the podcast is to reach every home, whether it's single moms, married, single. They're going to land wherever we send them, as long as we give them the proper tools and equip them to land. Because we know out here in this world, you can land anywhere, and a lot of times it's not good places where you land. So our job as parents is to make sure that we give our kids the proper tools, that we don't send them outside naked, that we clothe them well so that they can be prosperous, successful in their life. So last week we were talking about the beauty in parenting. I had a guest, Amanda, on here. She was a single mom, and she was even talking about all the challenges that she had with parenting, but we realized there's so much beauty into parenting. I even talked about stuff with my own kids because, you know, I got these teenagers, and I told y'all before, it's a hard knock life for parents out here. Parenting is not for the weak, okay? No, so we know that parenting is very diverse. It comes with, you know, multiple genders, age. It's like literally a melting pot. Everything is in parenting, right? You could be raising someone else's children. You could be raising your own children. But if you're responsible to raising somebody's child or your own child, you therefore is a parent, right? And we know that it's difficult out here. It's a hard not life for us. So we're going to continue the theme of parenting, really checking the beauty out of it. I have a guest here today, Rahmir Fitzgerald. Hi, is there a nickname you want us to call you?
You just call me Rahmir.
Rahmir, all right. So we have here, he's a single dad, and we're going to be talking about the challenges in and out, up and down, and also the beauty in being a parent, because we know that parenting it's heavy. The weight of parenting is heavy, right? We have so many different responsibilities and then still trying to be responsible for ourselves. So we're going to talk today about that, and hopefully we can give you guys some insight of what it's like to be a single dad, what it's like, you know, myself as a single mom, and also how we can come together and find different resources so that we can help one another. I believe it takes a village to raise children, and parents need a village too, right? All right, so Rahmir.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for coming. No, I try to get as much men on the show as possible to make it seem like we're not one-sided around here, you know, because people talk about the ladies, we talk about so much. And I had several single women on here, and a lot of times it's they're not able to defend themselves or speak up because, you know, there's more single women than there are single men.
You're right.
But I did have a couple guests on here giving us the insights of, you know, the baby mama drama and why they don't do certain things and why they're scared to do certain things. A couple of them were actually raising their children themselves and still had a lot of difficulty with it, but they were able to overcome it. And, you know, because we know that the system is kind of like biased when it comes to single dads. Like,
I agree.
So tell us about your story. Tell us.
Okay, my son's 2, so it's not like I have too much experience with it, but I try every day. I won't say I have too much problems with the co-parent. We try to, you know, plan out everything for the child versus our needs. His needs come before anything. So, but it is challenging. It is challenging seeing each other's vision sometimes. Yeah, when it do come to the baby, or just the different ways of parenting. You know, we do come, me and her, we do gotta look at it. We do come from 2 different backgrounds. So with the way I see my parenting and versus her parenting, she's more relaxed. I'm more a little bit stern.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I got a son, so it's like I don't want my son to go through the obstacles that I went through, or, you know, the decision making that I went through. You know, so I just try to just be there for him as much as possible, so he don't have the same choices that I had. You know?
All right. Now, you grew up in a single mom household, or all right?
Yeah.
And your dad?
Somewhat, so it won't get, you know, stressful, because at the end of the day, he is the bigger picture.
All right. What are some of the difficulties that you face in challenging being?
As if it's not it's not much, but I will say like the difference in the parenting, because as I said, she's really like she's lax on him. Me knowing that he's a black young male growing up in today's society, so it's like I don't want him to get molded in too many wrong directions.
Right.
Yeah.
It's certainly hard raising a boy, because even on my side, so I have the 4 children, but my son, it's really challenging as a single mom to really raise a boy, because first of all, we don't have the tools. I think every boy needs their father. So even if their father is not quote unquote what we think they should be or how they should be, but the fact that their father's in their life and have a relationship is important.
It's important.
But it's also hard though, because if you don't have a father who really takes on a role and takes on a responsibility, like you're still stuck at trying to get this young boy to be a man when I ain't got those parts. I don't know what's going on.
You don't know
my
what
son came to me.
You don't know what it entails.
Yeah. So I remember my son coming to me. He asking me stuff about his manhood. Listen, I don't have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I had to do, being a nurse, I work with adolescents, so I kind of knew some stuff. But I had to research even more because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know why you waking up like that. What's going on? Yep. So, but I think it's so important to be on one accord.
Yeah. Even being a male and not having the male, role model in your life growing up, you wouldn't know what decisions or what, what entails, So it's like as men, us not having our fathers in our lives, it doesn't help either. So, it leave us out there as when we do hit to be parents though, and, searching or reiterating our parenting styles because we didn't have that growing up.
Right.
So it's like you don't really have, if you don't have that growing up, you'll be in the dark with it half the time. Yeah. Even as a male.
Yeah, that's true. So, because you don't even know how to, you don't have an example.
Exactly.
Before you. So how did you learn, what made you say, okay, listen, I'm going to be a father, so I'm going to be the best father I need to be. And did you have examples before you, or how did?
I could say I had partial examples before me, because I will say my dad was in my life, but it wasn't every day. Like I lived with my dad for 6 years, and then I was down Delaware with my mom for, my teenage years.
Right.
So it's like once I got to my teenage years, I was more so like self-governed, not self-governed, but I still had my mom, but I didn't have my dad with me, so it's like, I had to, now what I look at it as in my parenting, I just I don't want my son to stray in the same lines that I walked in. So me knowing that, when I got older, not having my father in my life, I just want to be there for him any way possible so he don't even gain up in the same direction as me.
Right. And I think that's so important, because sometimes, when we don't have the example before us, it could go 2 ways.
Yeah.
One, you be the same the way that you were parented, or the second one is you be the best parent you could possibly be.
Yep.
Because of that, because sometimes we could take that information and be like, all right, listen, I ain't had my dad around.
Voice of Chester.
Everybody, my name is Donna, also known as Donna Janel, CEO and founder of Parenting with a Purpose. Our strive here at the podcast is to reach every home, whether it's single moms, married, single dads, whatever it is, foster parents, whatever, just bringing the ownership and responsibility and nobility back into parenting. Get comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. And all parents need some help and guidance, and I'm just here to be a guide. Hey everybody, welcome to Parenting with a Purpose. I am your host, Donna Janel, where you know we are here weekly at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, bringing back the responsibility and nobility back into parenting. You know, my slogan here, parents are the bows and our children are arrows, and they're going to land wherever we send them as long as we give them the proper tools and equip them to land. Because we know out here in this world, you can land anywhere, and a lot of times it's not good places where you land. So our job as parents is to make sure that we give our kids the proper tools, that we don't send them outside naked, that we clothe them well, so that they can be prosperous, successful in their life. So last week we were talking about the beauty in parenting. I had a guest, Amanda, on here. She was a single mom, and she was even talking about all the challenges that she had with parenting, but we realized there's so much beauty into parenting. I even talked about stuff with my own kids because, you know, I got these teenagers, and I told y'all before, it's a hard knock life for parents out here. Parenting is not for the weak, okay? No, so we know that parenting is very diverse. It comes with, you know, multiple genders, age. It's like literally a melting pot. Everything is in parenting, right? You could be raising someone else's children. You could be raising your own children. But if you're responsible to raising somebody's child or your own child, you therefore is a parent, right? And we know that it's difficult out here. It's a hard not life for us. So we're going to continue the theme of parenting, really checking the beauty out of it. I have a guest here today, Rahmir Fitzgerald. Hi, is there a nickname you want us to call you?
You just call me Rahmir.
Rahmir, all right. So we have here, he's a single dad, and we're going to be talking about the challenges in and out, up and down, and also the beauty in being a parent, because we know that parenting it's heavy. The weight of parenting is heavy, right? We have so many different responsibilities and then still trying to be responsible for ourselves. So we're going to talk today about that, and hopefully we can give you guys some insight of what it's like to be a single dad, what it's like, you know, myself as a single mom, and also how we can come together and find different resources so that we can help one another. I believe it takes a village to raise children, and parents need a village too, right? All right, so Rahmir.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for coming. You know, I try to get as much men on the show as possible to make it seem like we're not one-sided around here, you know, because people talk about the ladies, we talk about so much. And I had several single women on here, and a lot of times it's men they're not able to defend themselves or speak up because, you know, there's more single women than there are single men.
You're right.
But I did have a couple guests on here giving us the insights of, you know, the baby mama drama and why they don't do certain things and why they're scared to do certain things. A couple of them were actually raising their children themselves and still had a lot of difficulty with it, but they were able to overcome it, and you know, because we know that the system is kind of like biased when it comes to single dads. Like,
I agree.
So tell us about your story. Tell us.
Okay, my son's 2, so it's not like I have too much experience with it, but I try every day. I won't say I have too much problems with the co-parent. We try to, you know, plan out everything for the child versus our needs. His needs come before anything. So, but it is challenging. It is challenging seeing each other's vision sometimes. Yeah, when it do come to the baby, or just the different ways of parenting. You know, we do come, me and her, we do gotta look at it. We do come from 2 different backgrounds. So with the way I see my parenting and versus her parenting, she's more lax. I'm more a little bit stern.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I got a son, so it's like I don't want my son to go through the obstacles that I went through, or you know, the decision making that I went through. You know, so I just try to just be there for him as much as possible, so he don't have the same choices that I had.
All right. Now yourself, you grew up in a single mom household, or all right?
Yeah.
And your dad?
Somewhat, it was split. I lived with my mom for a little bit, and I lived with my dad on both ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so when you first had your son, how old are you, man?
I'm 31.
31. So you look young. You look young right here. But I like the fact that you're 31 and you're taking responsibilities for your own children.
You got to.
Sometimes it's hard because there's sometimes, like I said, there's some drama regarding the parents, and people don't see eye to eye. But like you said, like doing it for the greater good of the child. Like it's no longer about us.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
It's all about what can we do for the child. So that means sometimes I gotta be quiet. So you know, sometimes, but sometimes I gotta speak up. Like depending on him. So he's 2. So that I mean, how long you been just parenting a single like that?
Literally for the past year. And it could be difficult, as I said. But it's just I take my emotions away from the situation, you know, so it won't get, you know, stressful, because at the end of the day, he is the bigger picture.
All right. What are some of the difficulties that you face in challenging being?
as if it's not much, but I will say like the difference in the parenting, because as I said, she's really like she's lax on him. Me knowing that he's a black young male growing up in today's society, so it's like I don't want him to get molded in too many wrong directions.
Right.
Yeah.
It's certainly hard raising a boy, because even on my side, so I have the 4 children, but my son, it's really challenging as a single mom to really raise a boy, because first of all, we don't have the tools. I think every boy needs their father. So even if their father is not quote unquote what we think they should be or how they should be, but the fact that their father's in their life and have a relationship is important.
It's important.
But it's also hard though, because if you don't have a father who really takes on a role and takes on a responsibility, like you're still stuck at trying to get this young boy to be a man when I ain't got those parts. I don't know what's going on.
You don't
when
know
my
what
son
it.
came
You
to me,
don't know what it entails.
Yeah. So I remember my son coming to me. He asking me stuff about his manhood. Listen, I don't have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I had to do, being a nurse. I work with adolescents, so I kind of knew some stuff. But I had to research even more because I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know why you waking up like that. What's going on?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's so important to be on one accord.
Yeah. Even being a male and not having the male, role model in your life growing up, you wouldn't know what decisions or what, what entails, So it's like as men, we us not having our fathers in our lives, it doesn't help either. So, it leave us out there as when we do hit to be parents though, and, searching or reiterating our parenting styles because we didn't have that growing up.
Right.
So it's like you don't really have, if you don't have that growing up, you'll be in the dark with it half the time.
Yeah.
Even as a male.
Yeah, that's true. So, because you don't even know how to, you don't have an example.
Exactly.
Before you. So, how did you learn? Like, what made you say, okay, listen, I'm gonna be a father, so I'm gonna be the best father I need to be? And like, did you have examples before you, or how did?
I could say I had partial examples before me, because I will say my dad was in my life, but it wasn't every day. Like I lived with my dad for 6 years, and then I was down Delaware with my mom for my teenage years.
Right.
So it's like once I got to my teenage years, I was more so like self-governed, not self-governed, but I still had my mom, but I didn't have my dad with me. So it's like I had to. Well, now what I look at it as in my parenting, I just didn't want I don't want my son to stray in the same lines that I walked in. So me knowing that, when I got older, not having my father in my life, I just want to be there for him any way possible, so he don't even gain up in the same direction as me.
Right. And I think that's so important, because sometimes, when we don't have the example before us, it could go 2 ways.
Yeah.
One, you be the same the way that you were parented, or the second one is you be the best parent you could possibly be.
Yep.
Because of that, because sometimes we could take that information and be like, all right, listen, I ain't had my dad around. I turned out fine, but did you really? Like,
Exactly. If you really think about it, like how far did you, did you turn out? Yep, I understand that.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I get it, but how did that work out for you? And for my biggest thing, like having my, struggling, not really having my parents like that, really made me want to be the best mother.
Yep.
Right?
They wanted to fill the void that you was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want my kids to experience anything that I've experienced. Now, I've learned over the time, because I've been a mom for 24 years now.
Yep.
So I've learned over time there's a line though about giving too much and then not giving enough, right? Because as a parent, you want your child to have everything that you didn't have.
You do. Yep.
You getting all the name brand sneakers, even though you barely walking. You know, it cracks me up. Like kids got Jordans and stuff like this, they can't even walk in those.
Yep.
But it's because a lot of times we're just really trying to do because we wasn't done that way or something like that. But I learned over the years, like, listen, none of that really matters. As long as kids really want time. That's what that's
the most important
That's how they spell
thing.
love. We like, ask a kid how do you spell love. They're going to spell time. Any moment, right? So we don't really get a lot of time with our kids because, we all work, we have, lives and stuff. But time to actually impart in our kids and give them something. And this is good years though. He's 2, so you got some good years right now.
That's what I think is I call it the informatory years, where it's like everything is more so what you show him, and what instills with him. So it's like I watch him mimic me all day. So it's like I gotta be I gotta do better by him, because it's like I don't want him to be the worst parts of me. So I gotta show the better parts of me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I think, when we think about parenting in general, like, they really do pick up on us. Like, the old saying is, do what I say, not as I do, right? That's the old saying. And I think that's just an excuse. Like, I'm going to do what I got to do anyway, but you just better listen to me here.
That was heavy in my household. So
listen, I pay the bills, unless you got food, don't you? Yep. So you ought to, and I think that...
Trust me, my grandma is your aunt, so I know you know.
Like, that's what, and I think because that was instilled in them, for a long time, people thought that parenting literally was providing food, shelter, and clothing, right? And because a lot of parents, even back in the day, didn't really talk to their kids. No. It was literally, I'm providing food.
It wasn't like how you get it today, where your kids' emotional values matter more, versus when I was growing up and you was growing up, where you just be a child. You just, you do what you told, and you don't talk back.
You ain't got no opinions. Matter of fact, you ain't got voice. The only voice you better be hearing when you...
yes, ma'am. No, sir. Yep.
I know. I remember times where... when my mom was to beat us or whatever, and then she would get upset that we didn't cry, right? Because that's when they want you to have a voice, right? Yep. But then they were like, stop all that crying. Like, it's so crazy. You want me to cry? You're not, you think you're tough because you ain't going to cry. But I think it's so important for it to understand, like you said, the emotionalness in our children, because... Listen, if we don't invest in our children, spiritually, physically, financially, educational, relationally, if we don't get these areas right with our children, they're going to be adults. And they're not going to be able to have good relationships. Or maybe have a good job, career, maintain.
Or even be good future parents.
Yeah, because most parents parent the way they were parented. Right? Whether it was good or bad, because I know my parents, I tell people all the time, they fumbled me. However, I still have some stuff from when they parent me that I use to this day. So it wasn't all bad. I mean, some things could have been a lot better. But at the same time, I think people do what they do from based on what they know and things like that. And the times, because times are definitely different.
It's definitely different. Definitely.
I remember, people, my mom friends or whatever, they seen us walking down the street. They'll say something and they're able to correct us. You can't correct nobody's kids these days.
Not today.
And it's not even that the kids gonna snap on you. The parents are gonna snap on you
for correcting their child, for their child being in the wrong.
Yep. So it's like, it's certainly a different era we're in, but I don't think that the era is too far gone where we still can't get a hold of this parenting. Get a hold
of this generation.
Yeah, I think that if we just built some better relationships, that we can really have the village that we need to raise our children, because it ain't for the weak, man. Yeah,
I agree. See, and I would say the difference that I had is I had the sternness from my father. So with me living with my dad for those 6 years and knowing, look, this is his set of rules, versus when I come to my mom's house, I have more of the floor. I have more of an opinion. I have more of a voice. My mom, she was really patient with us growing up. So like, it wasn't like a line of disrespect, but we just know the things, what to say and how to approach her differently. With my dad, it just was, look, this is what's going on. This is my set of rules. This is the way you want to live. Right. And it's like, well, all right, so, but as a parent now, I want my child to have a voice. I want my son to come to me and say, Dad, I ain't like the way you went about that. Can we try again? I wouldn't even, maybe I was wrong because I may be still set on my father's rules as a grown man.
Right.
Yep.
I think that's so important to recognize the errors that we may, probably need to improve on or err because of the way we grew up and how we parent our children. I know that, kids aren't really supposed to talk, but I think it's so important for kids to know that they have a voice. Yeah. You got a voice, you have opinions. And I like how you said, the child, you want him to be able to come to you and say, listen, Dad, I ain't like how you did it. And people wouldn't look at that as being disrespectful.
I understand that, but
It's not though. I think I try to tell parents like it's so important to really have a conversation because you want them to be able to express their feelings. And why not? I think expressing your parent is expressing how you feel with your parent is the most safest place. Well,
it has to be because you want to have that foundation with your child where they could come to you about anything.
Right.
So if you slam that door closed when they come to you about you, then they're not going to come to you about the next person or anything else.
Yeah.
So it has to have, you have to have that right there, and it's a fine line with it though.
Yeah.
Before it does become disrespect. So you have of course every parent want their child to come to them and confide in them, but if you're that stern parent and you don't know how to lessen up, then you're going to lose that.
You're going to lose your kid.
Yeah.
You're really going to lose them because then they're going to go to the world asking for questions and or the internet,
or they're going to bottle it all in.
Right.
That's even scarier. They're going to bottle it all in, and when they get adults, it's going to explode when they deal with life.
Yeah.
What I'm learning is you got to prepare your kids for life instead of being a parent or being a friend. You got to prepare them for life because once they hit 18, I mean, you still have a hold on them when they get to be adults, but it's only so much.
Right. And I think part of parenting, this is why it's so important to have a great relationship because it's not a dictatorship.
It's not.
Parenting is not, and I think for so long we think that. And I was on the show, Amanda was on the show, A Single Mom, last week, and one of the things that we were talking about is like, because we are expected, to food, shelter, and clothing, it's almost like, but that's the bare minimum when you think about it.
Yeah.
That's really the bare minimum because we have to be the emotional, the relational, so that they're able to have good, healthy relationships when they grow up and get an understanding of themselves. Because if you never let your child talk, how do you even know your child?
Yep. That is true. That is true. That is true.
Building relationships and molding their character is so important in parenting because, you can have the kid, he's athletic, she's a model, she do the best, they got it rocking, right? They out here, they can get endorsements, they making money, but if their character's not right and their integrity's not right, like
it's gonna get overlooked.
Yeah, and they not even gonna be able to sustain being in the room. Like you can get in the room with a bunch of stuff, right? You can say, all right, I got a seat at the table, but then when you start talking to your character flaws or whatever, now you no longer got a seat at the table. So I tell my kids all the time, I'm more concerned about who you are, your character, your integrity, the talent and skills God gave you with, that's going to be there. But you can't teach somebody integrity. You can't teach somebody character.
That starts within.
Yeah, and that has to start young. Train them up.
Yeah.
Because you'll be a 30-year-old and you're trying to teach a 30-year-old how to behave well in public. You're like, wait, well,
that is true.
You ain't getting no training how you act at a dinner table, how you in public.
That is true.
And you be like, well, who kid are you?
And it just shows that they don't have enough of that in the house or what comes from the house. Because it's like school is only for the educational purposes.
Right.
And as a lot of parents, they put so much on school, but it really starts within the home.
Right.
Like that's the biggest foundation, ever is the home.
The parents are the first teachers.
Yep.
They're the first
friends.
Yep. They're the first cheerleaders. They're the first, everything. The leaders of the house. And I think how we invest and impart in our children will really make a difference of how the world views them outside of our house too.
Like and even though my son too, even with his little bits of broken speech, I still try to interact with him, and I still try to just guide him in the right direction, even though he's so young. So it's like he not I call it tablet baby. Like he not occupied by tablets or anything. Like we have interaction. We may watch TV with each other. I may read them books or whatnot. But I just feel as though we have to have that interaction with parents because I had seen some kids where they just so preoccupied by a phone or a tablet that they're not sociable. Right.
They lack social skills.
Yep.
No engagement at all.
Yep.
And it's crazy because a lot of times people allow their kids to do these electronics and stuff just to get them out their space.
And it's sad.
It get them out there. You know what I mean?
I just was talking to somebody
over there,
about
do
that.
this.
Because it's sad because what it has happened as parents is like we need our personal time too. We need
Right.
our space too after we come home and we deal with society and work and providing for your child, that you just need that 30 minutes to an hour. And it's like, you shouldn't, I mean, I can't tell you what you shouldn't do as a parent, but I mean, I don't think it's healthy for you to just stick your kid in a corner and preoccupy him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I find myself being drained after working 10 hours a day, go get my son from daycare, and it's like, oh man, I ain't even got the energy to, you know what I mean, to be a parent. But I literally find it in me some days where it's stressful, you know what I mean? But I got to do it because the outcome is him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's so important for us to really spend the time not allowing the electronics and I'm much older now, but I just see how, the internet and tablets and phones has really taken over, and people don't really realize that the images that these kids see, it really does distort the brain and changes the brain, the chemical balance of the brain. So I'm a strong advocate. I know when my kids was growing up, they didn't watch no TV during the week. Right. They was not on any games during the week.
That's good.
The only time, we had a lot of relational stuff, like we played board games and stuff like that. So I had a lot more time with them because they weren't occupied by, social media or electronics and stuff. Friday night, you could watch TV.
Right.
Saturday, if we ain't doing something, you could do that. But then that's a wrap because you're going to bed early because we're going to church on Sunday morning. So you literally have a day and a half to be able to do it.
It's more strategic. You got more of a schedule for them.
Yeah, I had to a point where I ended up cutting the cable off because we was like, we
barely watch it.
We was not using it. I'm like, I'm paying $100-something for some cable.
Well, that I barely watch. I watch it probably once a week.
Exactly. It was like, I started to, and the kids agreed though, which was cool. They was like, yeah, we only need internet services. We don't really need everything is a streaming. So again, you can be intentional with what you're watching and not having to deal with a lot of commercials and all that other stuff. Because some of these commercials and stuff, that's on there, and these kids end up
the commercials.
Man.
And if you don't even really watch the cartoons that what your kids watch, it's crazy. A lot of stuff, it's crazy. It's obscene.
Let me tell you, my baby, my niece, my sister just had a baby. She's 8. Grace Tony's 8 months now, and we were sitting there. Now, early on, we didn't let her watch TV or whatever. I'm an advocate of like not letting your kids watch TV early on in life because of the images and the brains and stuff like that. They kind of need to hear your voice and hear other adults, So she's now 8 months, and she does watch like Gracie's Corner and a couple other things. But she watched like a lot of natural things. So when we started her watching TV, she watched like animals, birds and stuff like that, getting that. So she's just in love with the birds. But I remember sitting there and I put on Gracie's Corner, right? Gracie's Corner black, it's black people, everything is good, right? And all of a sudden, I heard it was like a man voice. Like they had Big Frida on Gracie's Corner, right? Yo, let me tell you how it scared the crap out of me because I'm like, all the characters on there was like so happy and so playing, and then next thing you know, you get this man voice but looks like almost like a female, and I was like, whoa. So I had to stop it only because that was sending mixed signals, and that was not in line of what we were already doing. It threw me. Really, I ain't got nothing against. Big Frida.
It's the agenda that they push in today, and it's scary. It's very scary.
I ain't got nothing against Big Frida, but I did not want Big Frida coming through on Gracie's Corner like that.
Yeah. Let's keep it for the kids.
Yeah, that thing scared the best. I'm like, why did y'all have to do that? But I think a lot of people end up writing to them, and they end up redoing the song that she was on. But I don't have a problem, but it just really threw me off guard. Like, yo, y'all actually doing this stuff And like, I mean, she's only 8 months, and then all of a sudden, like, this
But
just
you
happened.
got 5-year-olds, you got 6-year-olds, you got 3-year-olds. That's not, that she 8 months. It's other kids who watch this as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like 1 minute we all singing out, and next thing you know, like you get this manly voice or whatever, but then this person looks like a female. And again, I don't have anything against that. It's just that it does send mixed signals to kids, and they're not sure and certain of what is actually going on.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, it's the agenda of the day though. It's like put everybody in much as possible so that nobody feels that they're left out. And I get human rights and understanding the rights of people, but at the same time, that's why I think it's so important that we can choose what our children watch.
Yeah.
Not just putting them in front of a TV, because you never know what's going to come across that TV.
Yeah.
That thing scared. I'm telling you, it scared me.
YouTube, I'm not a fan of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of YouTube.
Why?
Just for the kids, I'm not a fan of YouTube. Even in the, just how you said earlier, the ads, and I don't know. I'm more of an interactional parent. Like this year, me and my son, mom, we talked about buying them iPads, and it's just like it still put a sour taste in my mouth a little bit. Because my son too, he know how to work YouTube, and it's like that's scary to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they know how to work these phones and everything before you do. Like, yeah. But I'm very cautious of, like, even my god kids 4 and 8. Like, I don't give them phones and stuff. Like, first of all, this is a computer with a phone app, and like they don't even understand the value in that. You know. And
that's just the difference between me and her parenting, where I feel as though, like, it's probably more of a set age when he get a little old, like a lot older, not more older, but a lot older. But she like, well, he know how to work it, or, he needs this is what's going to keep him quiet, or and it's just like, I don't have them problems with him. Right. Yeah, because, like, she tell me, like, he day and night at her house. Like, at my house, he sits down, he's quiet, he watch TV. At her house, he has an older brother that they just run. They just run all day. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know it's a difference.
It's definitely a difference, and I've learned over the years, like, I used to try to micromanage his household, right? Because, like, I know what I do for my kids here and how the foundation is solid I needed to be and what we do. And it was a struggle for years, though, because I didn't like how things were going over at that house. But then I realized, like, I can't micromanage your house.
Yeah, so it's like I was waiting for it, because it's like I can't tell her what to do. Knowing I can't tell her what to do at her house. I don't, so vice versa. As long as he's being taken care of and he's healthy and he's alive and he's happy, then I can't stop what goes on over there. But here he's different. Yeah. He's different at my house. He comes in, it's an everyday thing. He knows, he eats, he watch TV, he get comfortable, and me and him, we may play, or I may watch TV with him. But half the time is he chilling. He not as energetic, and versus her house. It's been times where I sat at her house with him, and he off the wall.
Off the chain. Because he know what he can do at places. That's how kids are really smart, because there's things that, different setting require different behavior.
Yes. I think it's just the whole tone of the house. Like my house is more quiet, low lit with the lights, and theirs bright. It's, it's a little more louder and uptuned. And it's like, I don't know. I look at it when he come to my house. He's scheduled. He take his naps on time. It's like maybe he come over here and he just rests.
Now he need rest, right? He done ran all. But that's good you said, because one of the things I tell people is that, like, it's not that the other parent is better or I'm better. It's just we parent different.
Yeah. And as I'm coming to, it has to be balanced. That's what I'm learning. It has to be balanced.
Yeah.
Yep. So maybe it is a line of balance there that I don't see.
Yeah. We'll know as he grow older, right? But I think it is definitely a balance. A child, like, I just try to think about the kids, though, who have to go to these 2 different households. Yeah. And, they got to remember what the rules are in one place and what the rules are in that place.
It was hard. We even within a year with it, it was hard. It was because he was, his first years of life, he was used to us being in the same household. To, him now, like a year later down the line, it's like, oh, well, I don't see my dad every night, or I'm here at my dad's house. I'm not seeing my mom tonight. To him just adjusting, like to every to this very day, he may ask me, "Mommy, you gonna go see mommy?" or and it's like, "Oh, you see mommy later, son."
Right.
Like, so it's like him having seen the difference, and sometimes he's okay about it, and sometimes him being too. I might have to call his mom or take him to go see his mom, or
Yeah, it is. I just imagine just being. I think back on my life growing up as and my dad not being in the house. When he left the household and wasn't being in the household, and how much I desired to be around my dad, and it just couldn't be. Yeah. I think that's so hard on kids, where you're so used to, like you said, they're parenting together, and then there's a separation. And it's like, okay, now I gotta learn new rules. I gotta do this.
Because they don't understand that.
No.
Yep. I was the same way. My parents haven't been together in years, majority of my life, but just the weekends of me going to go see my mom, and then the weekends of me going to see my dad, and it was always two different rules, so it's like I feel basically all I'm saying is I feel for what he's going through as a parent. I didn't want him to go through that, so I don't know. It's just that's one of my challenges I go through.
Did you find yourself, before the separation, did you find yourself like, even if you and the mom was not, as cohesive as you wanted to be, like working out or whatever, did you find yourself try to stay for the sake of your child, like? Because I know as women we try to do that.
It wasn't easy for me to make my decision, but it was based upon being a better parent. To make my decision, and I say that in the midst of because it wasn't a healthy environment. And he, like I said, he has an older brother that's 8. So it's like before I show 2 boys what not to do, that's going to be men one day. I'd rather show them the right things to do.
Oh wow, that's good.
We their first example.
Right.
So it's like I gotta do it before I condemn their childhoods and make it miserable by arguments and not and not seeing an actual functioning family.
Right.
I'd rather step back and let them see me be a better man for them.
Wow.
I'm their first example.
That's good. I think because we always hear the women point of view, and I'm a woman, so like I know I stayed in my marriage longer than I was supposed to because of my children. But
we don't look at the fact that what is it doing to the children?
Yes.
What is this environment doing for our kids? And it's like I seen that as well. My dad was with other women when I stayed with him. And it never, the arguments and the things like that, they could take it the good way or the bad way.
Right.
They could pick it up, or think that it's the right thing to do versus looking at it saying this is the wrong thing to do.
Right.
So it's like it's scary. So it's like you got to protect the children before anything.
Right.
We got to take away from, our emotions and the way we see things or the way we want it and look at it like, these kids is watching before anything.
Right. And I think sometimes we get caught up.
What we want.
Yeah.
And what we feel as though is best for them. And it's a misconception because it's like what's really best for them is seeing things in a better light.
Right. Seeing healthy parents.
Yeah.
Like,
you could stay there, but is it healthy?
Yeah. I was looking at, I have the statistics on my phone. One of the things I looked up about what is the percentage of children are raised by single fathers.
Yeah.
Right. So we know the household single mothers pretty much hold the biggest household of raising their children. So, but I didn't realize how many single fathers there are out there who actually raising their kids, right?
Yep.
So they said single mother families is 6,329,000, right? So that's 19% of the population.
Okay.
Single fathers is 1,535,000, and that's 4.6% of the population. So it's crazy to see that there is a lot more single men out there than we hear and know, because we always hear the negative side.
Yeah.
It's like y'all you left me. I gotta take care of these kids. I gotta do everything from the head to the everything.
Yep.
And then we don't really recognize that there's single fathers who's doing the same thing though. Not that necessarily the mom left them, but they're raising their kids. They're taking care of their kids. And I think we don't look at it enough because we always see the negative part of and that's why I wanted to talk about the beauty in parenting too. Because we always see the negative part of the challenges that we face as being a single mom, single dad, or just being parents in general, right? There's so many challenges, but a lot of times we don't even talk about the beauty in it, though.
It is. I like it. I enjoy parenting. I don't try to look at the negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many negatives in your everyday life. So it's like when I do, when I am around my son, and I just enjoy it. I embrace it. I embrace every moment, the good and the bad, because he gotta learn.
Yeah. I think, so what do you like about parenting?
Everything. I like the fact that I have somebody who idolizes me. Yeah, who idolizes me. So it just make me, on an everyday scale, want to be a better person. Yeah.
what I like about parents, like you get to impart in another human.
Yeah,
like
and watch them grow.
Yeah,
Yep.
that like I was saying last week, it's like a gift that you can just keep unwrapping. Like a small package, but a big gift.
Yeah, I understand.
And you gotta keep unwrapping it because you just never know. Like
it's always something new. It's
Yeah.
always something new. It's never done. It's always something new. I like it because it helps me sharpen myself, literally, to be a better person. I didn't always. It's not like I had a dream where I'm like, I'm gonna be a dad one day, or you know what I mean. Tell you the truth, a lot of my friends say I was late on having my son because I was 29.
Yeah, that's kind of late there, Rahmir.
I mean, so it's not like
It's
I
crazy
always.
we can look at men and say it's late, but with a woman who has a baby at 29, we don't say it's late, right? But as a dude, like, what you mean? You ain't got no seeds out there yet?
So it's like I didn't. It's like I had to before. I don't know. I looked at. I wanted to change myself for the better before I even took that road. I had a lot of growing up to do. So it's like I don't know. Now since I am here, I just keep on sharpening them tools. Just keep on sharpening my tools for the better him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's so important when we really look at, parenting as something beautiful, not necessary. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's so much beauty in it when you see this child start to grow. And I like it now that my kids are teenagers, I kind of see me in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when they have conversations and how they carry themselves and things like that, I'm just like, yeah, I had something to do with that. That's what's up. And then, or if they like, my 15-year-old, everybody y'all know I'm going to talk about the one that tests my inner gangster, right? My 15-year-old daughter, she tests my inner gangster around there. I'm telling you.
She remind you too much of you?
Yeah, well, I think she don't realize I'm from Chester. Like, you know what I mean? We live up in Middletown and suburbs, that's how they've been raised. But I think she don't realize, listen.
She going to catch it one day.
So,
she going to catch it.
And then,
we're going to pray.
Because, we're going to pray for her, right? So, but I see me and her sometimes, and it's crazy because she's not my biological daughter. My sister passed away, so I've had her since she was 6, and I can just see the things that I impart in her. But then sometimes when she give me certain attitudes, I'm like, you're not even supposed to use that on me though. And then people say, yo, she act like you, because I'm quick to look at you like my facial expressions or something. So she has those facial expressions, but she uses on me. And I just be like, nah, like, I'm ready
you gotta
to go
catch
on.
it. So I know what you mean by that. I know what you looking at her like I know what you mean by that face right there. Like I already know what's going through your head.
I tell her I don't like the tone of your face.
That's a good one.
Like I don't like how you talk. I don't like the tone of your face. Like it's just not. Like your face is not giving me what I need to give me. Your face is like you're being smart. So therefore, like it's just as bad as you talking. It's getting smart with me because your face just done did it all. You know what I mean? Like, but
you
that's
ain't even gotta say it. Say the words up there. I already know.
Yeah, it's the look. It's the look. So it's just funny though, but I see the good stuff in her, and then I see the stuff that could be sharpened. Yeah. And it makes me, as a parent though, want to sharpen my tools, like you said. Really say, okay, well, she's getting this from somewhere. Yeah. There's a little attitude here. Well, maybe Donna, you probably got a little attitude sometimes, and we don't like to say that. But I think, like you said, children help us grow and realize that there's some things that need to change in our life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think as your son get older and you continue to have conversations with him, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great relationship because you'll have that communication. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times as parents we lack communicating with our kids. Again, we got that old mentality: do as I say, not as I do.
And it's something we gotta break that. That's one of them generational curses that we gotta add to the list because you going to damage your child today. Because now in the way that the schools are, your kids have to have a say. You know what I mean? They can't just be bottled up. You know what I mean? Your child going to do something in school and find out that they don't have a voice, and it's going make you look bad as a parent.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, where your kid come from, whatever. But offering them that space to be able to have a conversation, because I just believe that the household should be the safest place in the world.
It has to be. It has to be. Because, I mean, with things that's going on in today's society, you know what I mean, just the innocent killings and just, you know what I mean, just everything that's going on in today's society as a whole, you would want your kids to want to be, you know what I mean, not sheltered, but at least want to find, you know what I mean, home as being safe or somewhere that they want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we don't get this parenting thing right, they're not gonna want to be home.
No, they're not gonna want.
They want to be in the. That's not good. That's not a flex, though.
Yeah, it's not
a flex.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be raised by
a lot of things. As I'm saying, me still being young, a lot of things that I thought was predominantly cool growing up, as me being a parent, I would not want my son to idolize at all, at all. You know, so it's just like, even with me being, I'm still a young man, so I still play my video games and things like that. And he's 2, and he's at the adolescent stage where he learns. Everything is a learning lesson for him. I had to change the movies I watch, the games I play, you know, the music I listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially at least when he's a present, because the worst thing I would want my son to do is have a gun fetish or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
You know? Especially with him being a black African American man.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not.
It's crazy. You gotta even think about it at 2 years old, though. Like, how do I prepare my son for a world out here?
I used to be big on Call of Duty, and my son grabbed a hanger one day and was acting like he was shooting. It blew my mind. It disgusted me as a parent. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So like, I don't even think I ain't played my game almost in like a year and a half. Yeah. I just thought it's just collecting dust. I don't even. Yeah,
That's scary, though.
And that just showed me that I need to just pay attention to what I'm doing more around him, especially. Yeah, a lot of things that we think is cool until it's reflected upon your child, that's when it's like it's broken, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I see, there's a lot of memes and TikTok videos and all that, and I see all these little reels come through at TikToks, and these kids are saying like different things, like they're like 2-year-old cursing and all that and stuff. I be like, yo, wait, this is not cute.
Nope.
Like, or
let
like
the
you
kids
said,
be kids, man. Let the kids have a childhood. You got to. Let the kids be
like
kids.
you said, even with guns and stuff, like at such a young age, like you said, you a black boy. Wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah.
It ain't even. But I think sometimes we don't realize what we're doing and how it affect our kids.
Because he watching me play this game out of enjoyment, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he see the colors and seeing what's going on, and he thinking, oh, okay, this what daddy like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I want like what daddy like.
Yeah, yo, that is crazy. Wow. I'm telling you, I be looking at them reels and the TikToks, I just be like, yo, why do we have these kids out here doing that? Even, not even just like dancing, just stuff like that. Or, even kids getting smart back with their moms at 2 years old. I'm like, yo, you barely can talk yabba yabba what? It's so funny. Like my niece is 8 months, right? And she, kids, like, I don't even know where she picked this up from, but somehow, I don't know, maybe one of them shows on TV, like, I don't know where this came from, or it's just an innate thing that sometimes we have. But, like, she was trying to get something off the table, and she held it, and I grabbed it. And she gave me the worst attitude. She was like, at 8 months. And I was like, if she really could talk, I wonder what she's saying. She laying me out.
Every day, my son, he got this thing. I tell him, Mark, sit down. And he'd be like, no, daddy, no. And then he'd just start pointing at me and going off. And I'm like, I really just want to know what he's saying. I don't even get mad. I just let him express his little self.
It's crazy how they just be like, when you want something and you get that attitude. Because I'm just like, hold up. So instead of like laughing at that attitude with her, like what I'm doing is like, no, Grace Tony, that's not how you act.
Yeah, because if you laugh at it, then that's a sign of acceptance.
Yeah.
They think
even
it's funny.
Such at a young age, like, but she really went off though, man. I couldn't understand. I'm like, yo, she was holding on to this thing so tight. I didn't know where she got this.
I got it.
I don't know where she got the strength from to do this. I'm like, and she barely, she's standing up with one hand on the table now because she's 8 months and had this thing, and she would not let it go. But she was laying me out the whole time.
That's too cute.
And this is like, okay, I'm like, nah, Grace Tony, that's not how you act. This is mine. You cannot have it. Still trying to teach her stuff at 8 months. Because I'm afraid, like, when she get 2 or 3, she thinks she's going to be, baby, start snatching stuff and getting angry and stuff. It's like, no, I'm going to teach you now. But sometimes, like you said, our kids, 90% of the times our kids are a reflection of how we're parenting. So if you have a kid that's acting out of control or just not the nicest kid, the question, it makes me want to question parenting.
You got to question yourself as a parent.
Like, what
I wouldn't even say
doing?
the lines of parenting. I would say you got to question yourself as a parent, because it may be not even your parenting skills. It just could be your aura or the vibe that you carry in your house every day.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you're snapping on your kids and all that, but
saying,
they see
you snappy. They see you snappy. They see you angry, hostile, and they formative.
right.
So it's like they think that's okay.
Yeah. And then sometimes it can have the effect where they don't even want to deal with you even at an early age because they're afraid of what side, what parent I'm getting today with this personality, with this borderline personality disorder. What am I getting today?
That's why I will say when I did decide to become a parent, I was more at peace with myself. I was more at peace. I was more, you know what I mean? I was 29, so it's like I'm more relaxed. I'm not in the street. I'm not everywhere. I'm just working. I just was Rahmir at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. So I think it's important that parents need to be ready to have children first of all. And things happen. We 90%. But it sometimes having a child is a wake up call for ourselves to say, listen, all right, I can't behave this way no more. I got somebody who's looking at me. I'm trying to influence and be the best person, raise this child up to be a successful hero in the world.
Yep.
Whatever success means for you and your family, but we are responsible.
Yeah. It kills me because there's certain things like it scares me. I ain't gonna say it kills me because I can remember certain things from my childhood when I was 2. Just certain heroic things. And good or bad, vice versa. But it's like if they could remember that, if I could remember that, then I'm pretty sure some kids may remember certain things that, from their childhood. And it's like they did things that kind of mold them and set them for life. So it's like you want to make sure that the things that they paying attention to is the right things versus the wrong things.
Right. That's good. I think that as parents we have to be more intentional in our parenting and understanding that they're a reflection of us.
Yeah, you're dealing with another life form.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's so beautiful to be able to do that though. To be able to parent them to a place of successfulness and building their character, integrity, and all those things, and the values that we put in them, instill in them, that we know that they're going to take it throughout life.
Yeah.
And that's like if we don't put anything in, we're not going to get anything out of them.
They're an empty vessel.
Yeah, but if we do what we need to do, clothe them, prepare them, fill them up with the things that they need so that they can be successful in the world, I think that's the beauty. Like now that the kids are older, I'm looking at like the beauty in it. Like, sometimes when the kids are young, we're really just trying to make sure everything is straight. Like I got to do this, I got to do that.
You looking at your plate, what you got to do on your everyday life. Versus what is to come, because there's so much more to come versus what you got to do right there in that day.
Yeah, this is just a moment.
Yeah,
we got a lifetime to deal with this thing.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's pretty good. That's awesome. No, I'm glad that you're on the show. I'm glad that you hear you're a single father and that you understand the value of parenting and the beauty in it and the responsibility.
It's a big part. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's good. I think other fathers or other single fathers definitely should look up to you or even try to connect with you so that they can get a better understanding of their role as a father and how it really shapes and molds children. Sometimes because single moms are like the biggest household, like the biggest geographic household regarding raising our children, we kind of don't value the fact that these kids still need men in their lives.
Right. And as I don't know, because I think that's soon to change. I think that's honestly soon to change because I got co-workers, like who just be, who shared their stories with me that they single fathers. It seemed like every time I open up more about, my situation about being a single father, I find another single father in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just gives me inspiration to just keep on going, even with the things that I lack or the things I may not be caught up on, we help each other, and I think it's awesome.
That's good. It's like a brotherhood. Like,
yeah.
Because iron sharpens iron. It takes community because I know for me, parenting, I wouldn't be able to do it by myself the way that I'm doing it now. Like if it was just me and not allowing my village or communicating with other people to help really kind of lead me in different ways of parenting, because sometimes we can get caught up and think that everything is the way I see it and it's my perspective, but there's other perspectives in the room and there's other people who's been through certain things, and I think it's so important to have a diverse village so that everybody's helping each other out. Everybody's, there's something in it for everybody. And I think, you know, again, it takes, parents need a village. So, because sometimes, you know, you get worried.
You lose yourself as a parent sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. You lose yourself as a parent sometimes. You get so caught up in the day-to-day life. And I mean, I have seen it. I can't really say, you know, knock on wood that it happened to me, but I have got caught up in just the every day-to-day. You know, it could be, you know, I have seen people go through worse situations with their parenting than I have, you know, and you just got to pray for them because it's a hard road. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have the guidance as being a parent, you ain't going to have the guidance to guide that child.
Right.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that at least I'm learning throughout the years is that I can't really parent without God.
Yes.
Like
that
I
is
can't.
true.
I feel like my parenting has went up because of my relationship with God. Because then I think about how God is our Father and how He wouldn't leave us a certain way. How you know, because love don't leave you like that. Love don't leave you where they found you. Love don't leave you lacking and stuff like that. So I think about how God loves us so much and He doesn't leave us just to a mess. So as a parent, we can't give up our kids. We can't leave them to a mess. And we really got to, I think about how God instills so much in us so that we can be successful. Like we got to really take that and give it to our kids so that they can be successful. And without having a relationship with God, I think it's almost, it's harder. Because what is your standard? Who
Exactly.
You know, who are you looking up to? Who you know?
Who do you confide in at the end of your day? When times get hard, what do you do? What do you do to release your, you know what I mean, your tension? You know what I mean? Because it gets thick at times. You know what I mean? It gets thick. It's not like we living in an easy life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like who do you look forward to at your when you got enough.
Right. When your weakness is so bad where you can't even get up, and now you're like, all right, I need somebody else strengthen this weakness, like to push me to continue parenting so that I don't give up and get frustrated because again, we're dealing with other humans. And half the time we don't even know how to deal with ourselves, and then now we're responsible for other humans. So I think it's so important for us to make sure that we're solid, we're whole, we're complete so that we can give our best to our children.
Absolutely.
Because they always say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if we don't fill ourselves up with the things that we need and that we really need, because how am I gonna give my kids something that I don't have?
Exactly. How are you going to show you? How can you give your kids love, patience, and happiness if you
don't have love, patience, or happiness? If you're always mad, you always got
it's
attitude.
just a word at that time. It's just words at that time.
Yeah, that's the listen what I do, not listen to what I say, not as I do. No, we want to see the fruit. We want to see the fruit of your words. And I think that's so important in parenting. So I certainly thank you for being on the show.
No problem.
You really opened up my eyes to a couple things and just in relationships of how we really need to make sure that we're at a certain place so that our kids, and I love the fact how you're saying that even in the different households, like, so there are different households, but as for me in my house, like this is the rules and this is how we're going to do it. And I'm flexible to know what you're dealing with. However, we still have to have some structure here so that you can be you know, the best young man. Like you ain't running away from the responsibility. You're like you ain't say, hey, yeah, I'm a dad. You're like, I'm a dad. I'm gonna put some work in here now.
You got to. You got to. You don't want nobody else to raise your kids. You don't know what they showing them.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on the show. Look forward to you coming on here again. And as always, we are Parenting with a Purpose. My name is Donna Janel, and we are here to bring back the responsibility, nobility, and beauty back into parenting. We know parenting is hard. It's a hard knock life, right? We keep talking about that, right? Because it's not easy. It's not for the weak. But having a village and also just understanding our purpose in parenting so that they can be successful, it really does make the difference, and it helps us, you know, embrace the process, enjoy the process versus being, you know, angry at the process and things like that. So again, Parenting with a Purpose. I am your host, Donna Janel. We will see you back here on Thursday at 7 p.m. Have a great day.